The best lawyers aren't found in the big law firms. They're found in the stories of those who left. Hello, listeners and viewers of the Self-Employed Lawyers League podcast. Today, I've got a guest from all the way on the other side of the world in the UK, a residential conveyancer from Taylor Rose, Jaz. And I wanted to introduce this guest tonight. Jaz has been inside our CEL program that we're piloting over in the UK at the moment. But importantly, most people who have heard any of my teachings, I like people with their marketing and their sales, they should be able to explain what they do to a 5-year-old. And Jaz had never heard my advice, so I can't say she took this to heart, because when we met her, she had actually written a children's book on property law. So Jaz, welcome to the show. And tell me, how long has this project and where did the inspiration to write a children's book on properties come from?
Yes, thank you for having me. So it actually started with my own children, to be honest. Naturally, just because I'm doing in conveyancing, I talk about property a lot. And I think they came home one day and they were talking about the neighborhoods. And they were like, wow, Mum, I thought everyone lived in a house. And I was like, oh, okay, that didn't occur to me. So naturally, like, we started to look at books, went to the local library, went to bookstores. I couldn't find anything that I could explain to them in terms of, like, there's not just a house, there's a flat, there's a caravan. And there's all these, I don't know how it is in Australia, but then we have terraced houses, we have semi-detached. It kind of just depends on where you are in the UK. So literally, I was printing out sheets from Google. And I was like, no, this doesn't feel right at all. And then naturally, I was like, right, okay, let's go for a wander. And we went for a wander and I explained, like, oh, this is a flat. And can you see how many floors it has? And we spoke about, like, the specifics, like the balcony, the driveway. And then as they were asking me questions, I would jot it down and it became a book. And then I kind of, like, ran with it, really. So I guess the inspiration were from them, because I was like, wow, like, if my children are questioning it, I know for a fact so many others are. And even when you come to adult life, I still have adults come to me and say, Jaz, I still don't know the difference between, a semi-detached and a terraced. And that's obviously because there's a lack of education and the schools aren't talking about it enough. But yeah, that's the end goal, really, to actually have that book go to schools and we talk about it more, because at the end of the day, we all want our children to have a roof over their head. What that looks like, they don't know, we don't know, but, it'll be nice to just explain the basics. So that's where it all started.
No, and you're right. And I was thinking, as you were saying all that, I was thinking, yeah, adults, because ultimately they might buy one style of property, but they do that once, and you obviously help them do the transaction, but they don't really learn it. Yeah, it's not something that's fundamental, but it's obviously a roof over your head and food on the table is like a basic human need, and yet we don't educate people on the various ways you can achieve that.
Yes, absolutely. Cool. So important. Really.
So, and you're obviously very experienced in the conveyancing field, but take me back, Jaz, as a young girl, maybe teenager in high school. What career path did you want to follow, and is this something you always wanted to do?
Yeah, so my parents always invested in property, to be honest. So when I was hanging out with my parents, it wasn't anything like child life. We would go to auction houses and I would see my dad actually bid on properties. I would go into building sites. Like, those were my weekends, literally filled up with them, whether it was home shows, exhibitions. Law, I think I was just like, I just want to do something in the law field, but I don't know there was property in it at that time, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I did 3 years and I was like, right, I'm going to go into criminal law. I really like it. I have passion for it. And it just wasn't for me, to be honest. It just didn't gel, I suppose. And then I came across conveyancing and it just felt so natural, to be honest, because I guess I knew so much of it already, doing it with Dad so long, and then them investing, and then I became an investor. My husband's an investor. So it was just it was like, yeah, like I didn't know anything different when I stepped into conveyancing. It was just nice to now help others get onto that ladder too.
Yeah. Well, and so that first role, I'm very intrigued because I didn't know this. Criminal law, was that like that was you? Were you strategic, like I'm going to give this a go, or was it just that was the first role you found?
No, so I done my work experience at the Crown Court, and when I started, I was like, wow, okay, I really like it. I like the travel. I like how you're not just stuck at one desk. And when I was just like, no, this isn't for me. I mean, gradually as I'm growing, I'm having a family, I'm going to have children. So I think there was like that end goal of what's going to work for me, my family, and am I going to have a work-life balance? And I felt like conveyancing gave that.
Yep. And then, so from there to, did you go straight into another firm, or when did the self-employment aspect come into your orbit?
Yeah. Self-employment actually happened when I fell pregnant with my first.
Yep.
I stopped my 9 to 5, and I was like, right, I can't do 9 to 5 just because of childcare. I want to be more available for her as a mother. And it's got to be a different way. And this was like probably like 9 years ago, where working from home just wasn't a thing, to be honest.
Yep.
And came across this consultancy program, and I was like, interesting. And which is so scary because you're so used to going from 9 to 5, a fixed salary, to 0 clients, 0 income. And I think it takes time to build, and it did. But I was like, right, okay, if it's going to work, it has to work this way. And this is how I'm going to do it, to be honest. So yeah, that's how I started off, really.
And got into it. So yeah, in terms of over there, because over here it's very difficult, particularly for mothers, but fathers as well. Like I tell anyone, obviously mothers have to take more time off than a father, but a lot of fathers want to be present. Our firms, traditional firms at least, still not very flexible with maternity leave and sort of supporting women to go, hey, it's okay to both have a career and also be a present parent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it wasn't just the flexibility, to be honest. I mean, it wasn't great working from 9 to 5, you know, it was the service delivery as well, to be honest. I would go on holidays and I would come back with 50 odd files, never mind the 10 I probably had. And the calls and emails and people saying, you know, so-and-so didn't return my call, they didn't return my email. And I was like, wow, like I can do this so much more better and efficiently, and there'll be a service. And it's just mind-boggling how some firms work, to be honest. So I was just like, okay, I can't be stuck in this rut and complaining and everything. I need to like move forward and do it better, really.
Yeah. No, and so was that like a big firm? Like in terms of, we call boutique, well, there's sole practitioner in Australia, boutique, mid-tier, and then big tier, we call it. I think it's Magic Circle over there. What level was that firm?
Yeah, I don't know with the numbers, to be honest, but one was a city law firm, and then from a city law firm, I went into a town firm because I thought maybe if I work in the village, it'll be a bit more different. Far from it, really, to be honest, because when you have so many solicitors, clients sadly just become a number, and it becomes like this kind of like factory, to be honest. Let's try and take up work as we can, not actually understanding that there's obviously a customer service to be delivered as well. Yes.
The reason it always excites me when I talk to someone from the UK, because I'm like, it amazes me how similar the culture, I guess, of traditional law firms and traditional law is over there to here, because obviously I've interviewed so many people in Australia and it's incredible. And I haven't interviewed a lawyer who said they love the fact that clients effectively become a number. Like not one is okay with that. And I go, there's got to be a shift here. And so I'm excited to talk to you about, because thinking back to when you started and how daunting that was, what were the steps you took to build up? Because now you do have a thriving practice.
Yeah. I think initially I didn't network so much, to be honest, because when you're working in those kind of law firms, you've got the partners, everyone else trying to do it for you, and you just become a solicitor who's behind the desk and doing all the work and the legalities of it. So when I stepped out, I was just like, oh, interesting, what am I going to do now? So I joined all like these community groups, and I was like, I've got to do a lot more than this. So I went to all the networking groups. So whether it was like, so in my field, it was property. So I knew to connect with anyone in that property field, to be honest. I knew my main source of income was going to come from mortgage brokers rather than clients. Whilst I do have clients that come back to me, the chances of them coming back to me in the same month is very unlikely, to be honest. So I knew I couldn't rely on those clients. I needed a feeder, to be honest. So I would speak to every mortgage broker. I would be involved in sponsorships, like, you know, when they had like these kind of like business talks, I would get involved in panel talks, just where I would have anywhere my name. And likewise, that company would then share my social, my picture all over their socials to say, oh, look, and we've got a guest coming. And I think that's how the traffic kind of like started, to be honest. And it grew from there, to be fair.
Yeah. And so for you, was it like first year really struggled, or was it first 6 months? How long did it take till you felt, I guess, a sense of, all right, there is some security here. It's not just, will I eat next month?
And then after 3 months, it was like, okay, I saw 1 month's income come in from like a normal salary from a 9 to 5. And then that just grew and grew. And then by 12th month, it was just steady. And it's been steady since then. You still have those hiccups, to be honest, because as a consultant, you're very much working for now. And in conveyancing, you can't predict who's going to buy a property months. You are very much working for the next 3 months. After that, it's not ever like stopping that networking. You've got to continue it, to be honest. And I felt like as long as I kept that in mind and maintained those relationships, it's been well, to be fair.
Yeah. No, it's so simple. And that's, to be honest, like we literally put together courses and we put together so many resources, but everything you're saying, I'm like, that's really as simple as it is. Find the high leverage point, find the people, as you said. But people often take, and by experience, because we coach people who have been going 15 years and people who just started, sometimes they don't realize that quick logic that you did. Well, I can go try and find one client and speak to 100, or I can find one person who can send me 10 clients and network with them and build them up and ensure I maintain them. So have things over the years, have things changed how you've approached networking or marketing, sort of as the technologies and stuff have changed, or have you kept pretty consistent with what you did back then?
I think I'm a lot more selective now. Before, I just wanted to put my face out there, to be fair. I would go to every networking event, every other, I think every week I was literally out for a few days, just to kind of like put that momentum and just be like, right, okay, I need to try and find my feet. And once I found, okay, this networking event works, this doesn't, then it became a bit more steady and consistent, to be honest. So I think it's just first find your end goal, you know, look at how much you want to make for that month, and then work backwards from there. How many clients is that going to take? And if that's how many clients, then I would divide it by how many referrals would that be? And then I've just kind of like kept that. As long as I had that end goal, that's how it's been steady, to be fair.
It seems to magically happen. I remember when I was really young, my dad was telling me a story, because I got into business when I was 12. Like you, I think had very entrepreneurial parents. So I think it's such a blessing looking back to get that education so young. But he told me he helped a guy set up a lamington. He sold lamingtons. And he said the guy, your dad just told him, all right, he's the accountant, here's your numbers. You have to sell 100 a day. And the guy was like, there's no way. He's like, but he went out there and he knocked on doors till he sold the 100. And then he said the first day it took him till 9 o'clock at night. The second day took him till 5, and he got quicker and quicker. And that's where, if you just figure out those numbers and go, that is the goal, I can't argue with the math. So I'm going to do what is necessary to make sure I get that work in. It's amazing. I knew this was going to be an enjoyable story, especially for people to hear, like, because so many people are so nervous to make that leap. But you've done it and done it so successfully. So I think it's just wonderful to hear. Now, over the, what is it, did you say 2018? So 6-7 years now self-employed?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. No, about 8 years now. 8 years.
Yep.
Employed.
Has there ever been any moments of like, maybe I'll just go back to a 9 to 5?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
To be honest, I think there were just so many mechanisms in 9 to 5, right? My salary was fixed. I didn't want to go to someone and be like, can I have a wage increase? I'm taking on more files, and I just don't want to have a conversation. Whereas now I'm just like very much self-reliant, to be honest. If I want to make X amount next month, well then Jaz, work that much harder.
Yeah.
I don't like reporting to anyone like that, to be honest. So like that, no. If my children want to go out on the weekday during the holidays, I'll just get up and go. I'm not asking anyone really. So there's so many plus points. I appreciate it's not for everyone though, because I try and like get so many of my own solicitors, and I'm like, why are you doing 9 to 5? But I think they've got so used to in that rat race, to be honest, of just being like, okay, it's 9 to 5, I clock off at 5, and I don't need to worry about it. And I think as a self-consultant, I am worrying. There's no such thing as I clock off at 5 o'clock, because I'll be honest, you know, I'm never clocking off at 5. I'm still thinking about that client probably 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. When I'm going on holidays, my laptop comes with me. And I don't know, but it's become part of like a little baby, to be honest, because I don't see it as, oh, I'm working, oh, it's Monday. Like, I've never had that feeling. So yeah, it's either in your bones to kind of like take a risk and go for it, or sadly, I think some people are just so used to just being so used to today's 9 to 5 and having a fixed wage and be like, right, I don't need to worry about it. It just kind of depends on how big your drive is, I suppose.
Well, and as we were talking about the other night, it's the risk tolerance, and also people, and I'm becoming more, because obviously I'm probably the biggest proponent of everyone should be self-employed. And I genuinely do believe it in my heart, but I also sort of warn people that this is it's a lifestyle choice as much as anything. You cannot clack off, but it depends on the price you put on freedom. As I say, even if it's only a handful of times a term, particularly when you've got kids, I go, it's really hard. Like if you were to, for instance, to think darkly, if you were to die in a year or your kids grow up to be 18, how many things would you have wanted to miss? And would you put a dollar value on that? Because you are putting a dollar value on it if you're on the 9 to 5 and you have to show up and it's very hard to take leave. And that's where I go, so yes, it's a lifestyle choice, but by golly, the upside is that unabashed freedom. And like you said, if you want to earn more, work more. And like you're doing now, delegating and increasing your billable time, it's a very exciting prospect. Now, another topic I have to ask everyone, because obviously it's called the Self-Employed Lawyers League, and you've been inside it for a little bit now. Tell me, how have you found our resources? And if I can cut this, so if you say something negative, I can cut it completely out.
No, nothing negative at all. It's been so nice to have a support system, to be honest, because I think when you're in the self-employment role, you're so by yourself and you don't know what's right, what's wrong. So it was nice to feed off and see what you as professionals thought, what we should be doing, what we could do more of, to be honest. Like I said, like even like the book side of it, I never actually saw it as one entity. Like I always saw it, the book is a separate thing. That's something I'm selling. And then the conveyancing is separate. And that's something I'm delivering to clients. But I didn't really see that once I merge it into one, it just becomes one business. Like I had a broker and I was talking to him about the book. And he's like, oh, Jazz, and you're a conveyancing solicitor. It just, something I started off with a book became a lead for conveyancing, to be honest. And I really putting that and being like, Jazz, why are you not seeing it as one business? So it was nice to kind of just drop small little like notes there. So I've definitely been grateful for that.
Yeah, no, wonderful. It's been awesome to have you in there. And I was just blown away because at no point, like you spent a lot of time thinking about the book, preparing it, doing it. And it was about properties. Like you literally deal in properties. And those two, me and Courtney were laughing last night. Like that's those simple things. But it is, it's that third party just looking at it going, oh, there's a connection.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's because that one was I was so into the children and the colors and the schemes and everything else that went into that book, that I completely forgot that 1 minute chance, those same people that are going to buy it are going to be clients as well.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes, and we've had this when we do, because it's a creative endeavor. And sometimes, and Courtney talks about this all the time, sometimes when you do a creative endeavor, you don't want to be like, not paint it, because I hate that, but paint it with business, because business is so different to creative. But so like true. For me, and I go, but actually, if you can bring your full self to work, to your family, to everything, like that's kind of what self-employment is for me, is who's the most like productive person that you can be. And let's see how that can come out. Your marketing can be, in any different way. for the book. So tell me, and listeners and viewers, and we'll put this in the show notes, how do people get the book title? Where can they get a copy?
Yeah, they can get it from Amazon, which is like nationwide to everyone. Or if you're in the UK, you can get it from the local bookstore, Waterstones and Foyles as well.
Fantastic. And so now that you've done one, is there any plans? Sequels, other topics, different ideas?
Yeah, I'm not too sure right now, to be honest, because the idea behind the book was to get a foot in the door with the schools, and I wanted to really shake up the curriculum, to be honest. So right now I'm in the process of drafting a curriculum pack for these schools in the UK. Fantastic. And then I want to go to the UK and be like, look, you discuss neighborhood anyway, and you discuss the Three Little Pigs, and they talk about materials, but it's very like olden days and how it used to be. There's nothing about what the current neighborhood looks like. So I am more engaging more towards looking into schools and seeing whether they'll consider putting this as their hot topic. And once that milestone has been achieved, then the idea is, of course, to bring different volumes into it, to be honest. So that was actually aimed for year 1 and year 2. So that's 6-year-olds to 8-year-olds. So the book for the that I created, but moving forward, I do want to bring it up, do it to 9 to 10, and then go all the way up to university. So that is a bigger picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
and I love it. It excites me because the business brain in my head goes, I tell anyone, if you're going to be in business a long time, what's your happy meal? Because and this is universal. We grew up, a happy meal was a treat. It was a massive treat. And to be honest, it got us addicted. Oh, McDonald's is so nice. And even we don't do it often, but McDonald's, you go back there and you want to take your kids to have the same experience. And every business, I see yours and I go, well, you're getting the kids interested in property, and then they'll level up their interest. And then once they're 18, 21, suddenly, who are they going to come see for a conveyance?
Well, yeah, that too.
The lady who educated them all this way. So I go, this is a wonderful, not just business, not just educational. Like, it's just great to give kids that foundational knowledge in property. But it's a good business plan too.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Well, before we go, what is the best way? We know how to get the book. What's the best way to get in touch with you? Mortgage brokers, real estate agents, or people buying or selling?
So I'm available on LinkedIn under Jaz Dhaliwal, or I am available on Instagram, UK property _solicitor.
Awesome. Well, Jaz, thank you very much for joining us. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.